Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped you're hanging out with me today. If you're looking to get a little bit smarter, make better choices, or just figure out how to handle some of those tricky situations at home or with your friends, well, you are literally in the perfect place. Today, we're going to explore some absolutely amazing, powerful wisdom straight from the biblical text. And listen, this isn't just some old history lesson, right? This is super practical advice for our everyday lives. So let's dive right into this. So I want you to think for a second. Have you ever had to make a really, really tough choice? You know the kind. Maybe you had to choose between doing something that felt super easy right in that moment and doing what you deep down knew was actually the right thing to do. Like maybe telling the truth when a little lie would have totally kept you out of trouble, or choosing to be kind to someone who honestly wasn't being very kind to you at all. It's tough, but we all face these kinds of choices every single day. Section 1. Wisdom from the biblical text. Learning from Proverbs 28. The book of Proverbs in the biblical text is basically like this amazing guidebook for making wise choices. It's totally packed with these short, punchy sayings that really help us understand the best way to live. Just check out this first piece of advice from Proverbs chapter 28. It says, "To show partiality is not good, yet a person will do wrong for a piece of bread." Now, wait a minute, that sounds a little funny, doesn't it? Doing wrong for a piece of bread? Well, what the text is actually warning us about here is that really sneaky trap of playing favorites, sometimes just for a tiny, silly little reward. Okay, let's break down that big word for a second, partiality. Partiality just means treating someone better than someone else simply because of who they are. Like, imagine you're playing a game and you let your best friend cheat, just so they'll share their snack, or, a piece of bread, with you later. The biblical text is telling us point blank that it's foolish to treat people unfairly or bend the rules just to get some tiny little reward for ourselves. So let's see how this wisdom actually applies to our friendships. Check out verse 23. Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor rather than the one who has a flattering tongue. The biblical text is giving us some totally amazing advice right here about the exact words we use when we're talking with our friends. Now, you might see that word rebuke and instantly think it means yelling or just being mean, but it absolutely doesn't. A rebuke is actually lovingly telling a friend that they did something wrong just so they can grow and become better. Think about it. If your friend is a giant piece of spinach stuck in their teeth, or if they're being kind of mean to someone else, being a true friend means you actually tell them the truth. And that is way better than flattery, which is basically just handing out fake compliments to keep things easy. So we really have a clear choice to make here. We can either choose honest words to help a friend grow, or we can choose fake compliments, flattery, just to make them feel good in the moment. The wise choice? It's honest love, every time. Sure, it might feel a little uncomfortable for a second to tell your friend the truth, but in the end, they're going to respect you so much more for it. Section 2. Respecting parents and family. Honoring those who guide us. Okay, so we've talked about our friends, but what about our family? What does wisdom actually look like inside our own house? Well, listen to verse 24. Whoever robs their father or mother and says it's not wrong is partner to one who destroys. Wow. That is a really serious warning. It tells us exactly how big of a deal it is to take things from our parents without asking, even if we try to, make up some silly excuse for why we did it. Let me ask you this directly. Have you ever taken something at home, maybe it was some money left on the kitchen counter, or a snack you were specifically told not to eat, or even a toy that belongs to your brother or sister, and thought to yourself, it's no big deal, it's just my family? While the biblical text warns against this, because sneaking around like that destroys trust. True wisdom means we respect our parents, and we literally always ask before we take something. Section 3. Trusting him over greed. The danger of wanting too much. And that brings us to how we handle money and sharing, and really why our ultimate trust must always, always be in him. Look at these parts of verses 22 and 25. They say, the stingy are eager to get rich. The greedy stir up conflict, but those who trust in the Lord will prosper. When we're stingy, it basically means we just don't want to share. We want the whole shebang for ourselves. And the text points out that wanting everything for ourselves, it just stirs up fights and conflict with everyone around us. This really shows us two totally different paths we can take with our stuff. The foolish choice is obviously being greedy and fighting over things. But the wise choice? That's trusting him. Because when we trust that he is going to take care of us and provide exactly what we need, we don't have to be greedy. We can just relax, be happy, and actually truly prosper. So how do we actually show that we trust him? Well, verse 27 tells us exactly what trusting him looks like in real everyday action. Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them receive many curses. Trusting him means we just aren't afraid to take what we have and share it with people who really need it. Just look at this contrast right here. His way is keeping our eyes wide open, so we can actually see when others need help and then stepping up to share with them. The foolish way is just closing our eyes and pretending we don't see someone who needs a friend or a helping hand. It's a huge difference. Section 4. Walking safely in true wisdom, depending on his guidance. Okay, so we've learned about treating friends fairly, respecting our parents, and sharing our stuff. But where does the power to actually make all these choices come from? Let's discover where true safety and wisdom really live. Verse 26 lays it out perfectly. It says, "Those who trust in themselves are fools, but those who walk in wisdom are kept safe." You guys, it is a massive trap to walk around thinking we know everything on our own. If we just rely on what we think is best without ever asking for his help, the biblical text says we're acting like fools. Because true safety doesn't come from being the smartest kid in the room or somehow having all the answers. True safety comes from letting him guide our steps every single day. Walking in wisdom, it simply means trusting him to lead you. And when you trust him, he promises to keep you safe right there on the right path. All right, let's look at the final verse we're covering today, verse 28. "When the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding. But when the wicked perish, the righteous thrive." This verse is basically a giant summary showing us that when bad choices and wicked ways rule the day, everybody is miserable. But when wise choices win, everyone gets to live a much better, happier life. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding that word righteous. Now, righteous is kind of a big church word, but for us, it really just means making the choices that he says are good. It literally just means doing what is right in his eyes. And when we make righteous choices, not only do we thrive, but we actually make the world a better place for everyone around us. So, as we wrap up this explainer, let's talk about putting this wisdom into action. Here are 5 practical, bite-sized ways you can apply the biblical text to your life this very week. 1. Play fair and don't cheat just for some tiny reward. 2. Use honest words to help your friends grow. 3. Always ask your parents before taking things at home. 4. Keep your eyes open and share your toys and your stuff. And 5, honestly the most important one, trust him completely to guide you. Because remember, wisdom isn't just about what you know, it's about what you actually do. And you have the power to make incredible choices because he is guiding you. So my question for you as you head out from this explainer totally ready to walk in wisdom is this: which wise choice are you going to make today?